You know, if it wasn't for technical difficulties, I don't think I would even have a fucking show. Real quick, just a little bit of a bitch. When you spend $3,000 on just a camera body, and the camera's only purpose is to vlog, and it overheats in 20 minutes so that you have to go out and buy other shit to keep it cool, I think you failed. Yeah, Sony, you failed. Everything about this camera should be fucking cool. Like cool, but not cold cool. And, yeah, one fatal flaw. The thing fucking overheats. Well, good afternoon. Hello. Happy Friday, everybody. It is fucking Friday, thank God. I'm glad the week's over. But man, has there been a ton of crap in the news? Like stupid shit. We talked about a little bit of it on the news brief this morning, and I want to get into a couple of things a little deeper. But I really want to go into something first that's really, really bothering me. And thank you, Winona. I shouldn't be surprised at this point, but I honestly thought we were coming out of something and going into something better. I thought we were leaving all this DEI woke bullshit aside. And you would think that Hollywood, of all places, would have ditched this and not wanted to touch it with a fucking 50-foot pole. And what I mean is a very anti-American sentiment in their movies. I'm an apologist for Superman Returns. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. Everybody calls it the Superman stalker movie, and I don't see it that way. There were a lot of things about that movie that harkened back and definitely was a tribute to Christopher Reeve. There were a lot of things about that movie that were like note perfect as far as comic book goes, the Superman comics go. And there was some other stuff that was just... I also really dug the first Superman in the Snyderverse there. I think Henry Cavill is perfect as Superman, period. I don't think anybody else could do it. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes of this new piece of garbage. I'm going to delve into something that's probably not the sexy political shit that you guys want to hear. But, yeah, Batman is greater than Superman, without a doubt. And, I kind of didn't mind. I thought I was going to mind Ben Affleck being Batman a hell of a lot more than I did. And I actually didn't mind him. I just think that, Ben... And I'm also an apologist for... at least the director's cut of Daredevil. The director's cut of Daredevil was a vastly different movie. It was actually really fucking good. I'm just not a big fan of what's her name, Jennifer Gardner. I think somebody could have been a better Elektra. Actually, somebody who was. I don't see her as a Greek princess. Just could have been better. And I love Michael Clark Duncan. I think he was one of the greatest actors. He was the funniest fucking thing about Armageddon. I was just trying to give my man a head start. That shit cracked me up when I saw that. And I thought he was amazing in The Green Mile. I mean, I love him as an actor. He was a great fucking actor. But he's not Kingpin. And this is what Hollywood's been doing for about 20 years now or more. Taking historically, white characters, and it's not going to be a white-black thing, but white characters, and changing them because of inclusion and diversity. And let's make this character that's been white for 40 years and, cast a black actor. I don't even think what's his name, the one that's playing him in the show. I don't even think he's. I don't know. They kind of bitched him out in this last series. This is what Hollywood's doing. Hollywood's trying to sell you this product that makes it so that people who embrace tradition and the stories, like comic books are America's culture. It really is. I mean, these superheroes are a product of our Western culture. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, you know, all the big ones, and not Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's always sucked. And they're trying to change it. Well, no, they have changed it to try to get you to change your mind about what you think is right and how you feel. And they're telling you, and Hollywood's gaslighting you into thinking that, oh, well, you know, if you happen to say that, you know, Kingpin shouldn't be black, that you're a racist. But something else has been underneath and subversive for a lot of years, and now it's right on the surface, is their anti-America sentiment and their anti-American feelings. In that Superman movie I was telling you about, the Superman Returns, Perry White says, is he still for truth, justice, and all that stuff? And they very blatantly shied away from the American way. They want you to feel bad about loving this country. They're trying to, through subversive advertising and marketing and their movies and their narratives, trying to get you to hate America. Now, most people wouldn't pick up on that. Most people who aren't acutely aware, most people, you know, they don't see that. But me, it stuck out like a sore fucking thumb. I was like, what in the fuck? And then, you know, what is that? That was J.J. Abrams. So it's now, you know, it's not shocking. And that leads me to what's going on right now. So you got somebody like the director from Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, who has said some really fucking heinous shit. He ended up getting fired by Disney for saying heinous shit, which means I would probably get fired by yeah, I have no fooling. Yeah, I have that actually. That was listen, as far as comic book movies go, being accurate to the comics, there's only two that were, well, three I would say in all of them that I've seen. The Crow was one. They did change some stuff, but it was as fucking accurate as it gets. Sin City was fucking like watching somebody turn a fucking page. That was phenomenal, and that's because of the team that was behind it. And Watchmen for me was perfect except for the end. And I, you know, the thing about that is, and I was actually going to get into the end of that movie, because they want to change these stories that have lived for 40, 50, 30 years into something that reflects what's going on, what they think is going on in this country. Listen, the MCU is not the MCU, okay? They purposely designed it to cater to women and gays, and that's what Kevin Feige said. And guess what? They didn't show up. This is why Marvel has lost billions of dollars. And you look at the only movie in the last 5 years that's been successful. I think Spider-Man was fairly successful, the last one. And that's because of all the people that were in it. Everybody showed up because, you know, the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was going to be in it. But the only movie that was really a success for them in the last 5 years was Deadpool and Wolverine. And all Ryan Reynolds did the entire time was shit on Marvel for being woke. If you watch that movie, it is literally his middle finger to Disney saying, you guys really fucked up. And it made almost $2 billion. I think it's like the highest grossest R-rated movie of all time. Second to that was The Passion of the Christ. So, when you have somebody that has the control that Ryan Reynolds does, as far as that goes, and he says the things that he says in those movies, it resonated with people who are fucking tired of the message. We're tired of this fucking feminist garbage. We're tired of the gay and trans agendas being shoved down our throats in fucking movies. We're done with it. Everywhere we look, there's some fucking tranny on a fucking on a beer can, or repping some beauty organization. What the hell's the name of it? They had a trans individual, and it was oh God, what's the name of that company where all the chicks go get their fucking... Anyway, see, this is how much I pay attention to it, to that part of it. I don't even remember the name. But everywhere we look, they're trying to push this message. And, all right, look, it's not that big of a deal as far as the pushing the gay message or the trans message or whatever. The problem I see, and I think it's more of a problem, is the anti-America message. They are doing their damnedest to watch the fall of Western civilization. And this is where we're going to go. James Gunn did great with Guardians of the Galaxy. It wasn't political. But James Gunn does a specific type of movie. And what he did with Guardians is not going to translate to Superman, because the Superman in that movie was literally a bitch. He was a whiny little fuck. There was nothing badass about him. The actor, he could be a great actor. I don't know. He's not Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is fucking huge. He looks like Superman. He's built like fucking Superman. He's as tall as fucking Superman. He was the stereotypical what Superman. He looked more like Superman than even Christopher Reeve did. And I know people are going to be like, holy shit, that's blasphemy. Now, the Christopher Reeve movies were much, much better. Well, 1 and 2 were. 3 was kind of and 4 was The Quest for Peace. But as far as big screen adaptations of Superman, Henry Cavill is it. And they were like, no, we have to dial it down and get this puny little fuck who just cries and whines and yells at Lois Lane because he can't control his emotions. That's not Superman. That's not who Superman ever was. That was James Gunn in Hollywood and DC and Warner Brothers trying to yet again push the message that even Superman can have emotions and be beta. That's not what we want. These movies are failing because we don't go to movies anymore. Why? Because we're tired of their bullshit. If you look at the movies that have succeeded in the last 3 years, all of these movies have been on the other side of fucking woke. Now, I say all this because I want to say that I'm pissed, but I'm not. I'm not pissed. I'm just like, motherfucker. I really honestly thought, with what I've been hearing, and as a perfect example, anybody who's a gamer out there, if you remember, there was a really great, like, old school RPG role-playing game called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And they're coming out with sort of a sequel to that. And the first thing they show, so Star Wars just had a game come out, I think it was 2 years ago. It was called Star Wars Outlaws. And when you look at the character model, first of all, it's a female protagonist. None of us want that shit. Unless it's Ripley. Unless it's fucking Sarah Connor. We don't want that shit. First of all, the gamer space is primarily made up of males. And even the women that are in the gamer space flatly fucking told Ubisoft, like, listen, we're not playing this fucking stupid game. What they did was, if you go back, they had a character model of this woman. This is another thing that Hollywood's doing too. They had a character model of the woman, and she was good looking, like really, really, really good looking. So in order to be inclusive to the trans community, go pull up a picture of what this, you know what, I'll bring it up too, of what they changed her face to make her look more male. Female protagonist, but with a dude face. Looks like the dude, T-Bird. That's who it looks like. Looks like T-Bird from the movie The Crow. If you remember that actor, hold on. I'm going to bring this up right now. Let's see. Open this in a new tab. Oh, okay. This is, I'm going to stop screen sharing that one. And I'm going to start screen sharing that one. So this is what they gave us. What? This is what pop culture, anything having to do with pop culture, from comic books to movies to music to video games, has been doing. They've been taking what would be traditionally beautiful women and dumbing them down and making them look more masculine. I would have probably been more for this game if they had used the original character model. Look, in 1996, I played Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider. Lara Croft is fucking great. Big pointy boobs and everything. The game was great. I didn't care that it was a female. Didn't bother me. This I have a problem with. This I have a problem with because what they're doing is trying to change what is actual biology in our minds. Like, we're supposed to be okay with this. We're supposed to make our brains like accept this as this is what a prototypical woman looks like. And that's bullshit. That looks like a dude. So anyway, let me get this off the screen because it's hard to look at. Hollywood doesn't care about you. And obviously Hollywood doesn't care about itself either, because they're watching their profits. I mean, Superman should have been $1 billion movie. It barely broke 600 million worldwide. Like, that should have been a fucking banger of a movie. And I've seen some pretty bad fucking movies in my time. If I can't make it through 20 minutes of a movie, it's fucking really bad. And I definitely can be an apologist for some movies that people think are shitty. Like, I think everybody thinks that fucking Daredevil shitty. I go back and I watch that, and I watch the director's cut, and I think it's a fucking awesome movie. And I think Ben Affleck did a great job, and he got a lot of shit for it. You know, and people, you know, Batman v Superman was not a great movie. It really wasn't, but I think that Ben did the best he could. So I'll give him credit. I think he was a decent Batman. But again, you would think, like, I know for me, if I'm watching the landscape and I'm losing billions and billions and billions of dollars, and then I see the one bright spot that made me make money is the thing that I would lean into, i.e. Deadpool versus Wolverine. That movie was as far away from woke as it gets. And then people will say, well, Rob, you know, they had a female villain in it. Yes, they had a female villain who goes back to, and her origins, that movie, her origins period, are she was Professor X's twin, that was supposed to get eaten in the womb, and somehow she was born, and she was all fucked up. So, yeah, well, I mean, there could have been better villains. That she did a great job, and I enjoyed the movie immensely. I will go back and watch it because I will laugh at all the unwoke jokes. I will laugh at every single time that Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool shits on Disney. It's worth it just because it gave me a glimmer of hope. Gave me a glimmer of hope that these studios will see, and they will start going back to traditional stories that we all love instead of changing it for the message or the narrative. And this is what James Gunn, the message and the narrative, is what he did with Superman and now with Supergirl. You know, I want these guys, and I, as we all do, anybody who's a conservative, we want to have this feeling of American exceptionalism again. And we want to see it in our movies. And here's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go to the chat with this. I'm going to full screen it. And I want to see if you guys picked up the same thing I did. So that's Millie Alcock. I know, I'm fucking 15. I bet you she could take all the... that's Millie Alcock from Game of Thrones. So this is the Supergirl movie that's supposed to come out in June. Yeah, June of 2026. So there's a lot going on here in this picture, but there's one thing in particular. Is it so fucking hard for anybody in Hollywood to love America, love this country, love the country that gave them everything that they have? If it wasn't for this country, these movies wouldn't even exist. These people wouldn't have a fucking career. If it wasn't for American men and women going out to work, spending money in movie theaters, spending money on their fucking merch, they wouldn't have anything. I'm not opposed to a Supergirl movie. And I think Millie Alcock, or however, yeah, Millie Alcock. That's how you say her fucking name. I'm just going to say it. Millie Alcock. Alcock. Cock. But here's the problem I have. Truth, justice, whatever. They did it again. They just cannot say the American way. Do you see that? Bottom left, truth, justice, whatever. Now, listen, I'm a Lobo fan. He's a character that's got long hair, beard, rides a motorcycle, dresses like he's from, an 80s metal band. I can't not be a fan. Most of us metalheads were fans of Lobo back in the day. And I was excited for this movie because Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo. And I think that there's probably no better person to be Lobo than Jason Momoa. Although I've seen some things about Jason lately that I'm seriously fucking worried about, man. So his performance, what he did in Fast X, I just don't dig dudes that put fucking nail polish on, and for any reason. It's just, I didn't even like it in the 90s when all the fucking new metal fucking idiots and the goth fags were doing it. I'd look at dudes and I'd be like, dude, why are your nails black? That's fucking gay. Stop. So they just can't say truth, justice, and the American way. Superman's almost at least 100 years old at this point. I think he's 100 years old, almost 100 years old. Where the fuck is my mouse? Oh, there it is. Let's see, Superman. Superman was created. The one thing I want, it's not telling me. I think it was in the 30s. Yep, hold on. Then go to the let's see, 1938. So he's almost 100 years old. And it has always been truth, justice, and the American way. I'm going to stop the screen sharing that. And then what they do to make it even worse, and I'm going to play the first couple of seconds of this because who knows if the studio will sue me, is they have to take down the patriarchy. That there's this narrative in Hollywood that being man is bad. Like, if you look at all of these movies in the last 5 years, every single bad guy is some white, skinny male. I don't even know how that happened. So what do? Superman is the epitome of what I would call a man's man. Like, he stands up, he helps people. So what do? Well, watch this for yourself. Wait, did I do that right? No, I did not. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. So that's Crypto. First of all, Crypto is more of a German Shepherd lab mix. If you look at what Crypto is, they had to, of course, James Gunn had to change what Crypto looks like. But this, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Did you guys see that? This is what they're selling you. The first thing Crypto does, which is Supergirl's dog, the first thing Crypto does is piss on Superman's face. Superman bad. You know, the only reason they didn't make Superman black, and they tried to in that movie. They absolutely did. The only reason why they didn't make Superman black is because they know that nobody would show up. Otherwise, they would have. Listen, I don't care. People can call me whatever they want. I don't really give a shit, to be quite honest with you. I never have, never will. I love Blade. Blade was the Blade 1 and Blade 2. 3 was nah. But Blade 2 was Guillermo del Toro. And if anybody knows who he is, he's made some of the greatest comic book movies. And I really enjoyed Frankenstein. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. It was not what I was expecting. And only Guillermo could do it that way. Pan's Labyrinth was great. I love Hellboy 1 and 2. I actually love Hellboy 2 more than I do 1. And I do get a lot of shit for that. But there was a lot of themes in that movie that kind of resonated with me, especially, when he killed that plant giant. And, they said the prince, they made the prince to be the bad guy in that movie, and he really wasn't. If you watch the movie, he talks about humans being evil, soulless things that only care about their money and shopping malls, and they're destroying the earth. And you could look at it from like a Green New Deal kind of perspective, but listen, I don't want to destroy the earth. I don't litter because I like the beauty, especially where I live. I love the woods. I love the trees. I don't want to see trash on the ground. I just don't think it's going to kill the earth. So, this is where, I would absolutely, appreciate people not throwing fucking cans out of their windows and, trash on the streets. You got to be a fucking idiot if you say, oh, I don't give a fuck about that. Well, then you're an idiot. If you say that you don't care about that because you want to fight against the left, you're a fucking moron. I just don't go as far as to say that, the earth is going to die because of plastic. It's fucking retarded. So, and he was rebelling against humans and what humans have done to the earth. And I actually didn't see him as a bad guy in that movie. In fact, I thought Hellboy was more of a bad guy for killing him. He was right. I'm always for the anti-hero anyway. But this is what Hollywood is doing. I think it comes from places like BlackRock and Vanguard, who have majority stakes in this. They have majority stakes in a lot of things in this country, and they've been trying to push the message, the feminist Me Too movement bullshit, the trans movement, the gay pride movement. You got to put gay in everything. I mean, another example, the latest Doctor Strange movie. Holy shit. If they fucking zoomed in on America Chavez. She's the character in that movie. She has the trans pin on her vest, on her jeans vest. And it's like, ooh, we got to get a big prominent shot of that. Hey, here you go. And what happened in that movie? It tanked. There was parts of that movie that were really good. Had they expanded on that aspect of it? But no, they have to push the message. The DEI, the woke, the trans rights, the gay rights, the diversity, the feminist Me Too shit. The MCU I don't, do I, Mike? That's what I'm seeing. Like this new program, it doesn't tell me, it doesn't even tell me, like, it'll give me your @ but, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, man. We'll figure that out. So they're pushing this narrative to try to change our minds, and they do it through movies. They do it through popular media. They want to make us complacent in the narrative that they want to push. And the more we fight back, well, we fought back with really the only thing that we can fight back with right now, because that's the only thing most people are willing to do, is with our wallets. We've told them no. We canceled Harley. God, you should have seen Harley at Laconia this year. Oh, no. There was nobody at the Harley booth. They were like, nope. They ended up getting rid of the CEO. You know, when you take a brand that's been around for 100 years, that the community of people that have kept them afloat and literally said, fuck you, we're going to do things our way. We're going to make an electric bike. We're going to appeal to the 22-year-old college student who is, environmentally conscious. That's not Harley Davidson. That is not what Harley Davidson has been built on. It's been built on men who have wanted to live that lifestyle. They made Harley Davidson what it is, and they forgot the people that put them where they are. And then they had all of these sensitivity, trans and gay sensitivity classes for employees of Harley Davidson. These guys don't give two flying fucks about your trans rights. These guys don't give two fucks about your gay rights. It's about throwing a fucking leather vest on, getting on your fucking bike, and hammering fucking hard. Knees to the breeze, shiny side up. They don't care about your... People that are buying these bikes don't care about your fucking DEI and your bullshit and your inclusivity. But no, you got a German guy who says, oh, well, I'm going to completely change the face. Just like that woman... Yeah, Harley Davidson got Cracker Barrel. They absolutely fucking did. So, yeah, you should have seen it. The local Harley Davidson dealer, to me, I ride by there all the time. And there's nobody in the parking lot. I mean, all the time. There's nobody in the parking lot. They can't give these fucking things away. And you know who picked it up? Somebody who was smart. Indian. Polaris, an American company, Indians made here in America. They used to be Victory until they got rid of Victory to concentrate all of their money in R&D on bringing back the Indian lines. And if you look at some of these Indians, they're fucking gorgeous. And Indians' market share went right through the roof. John Deere, happened with John Deere, happened with Tractor Supply. Bud Light. When you got a marketing director, head of marketing for Bud Light that says we are going to change the culture of Bud Light drinkers from rowdy frat guys and NASCAR guys to gay people and trans people. Look what happened to Bud Light. We have said no very hard, very vocally for the last 4 years with this woke bullshit. We have pushed back on every single fucking time they've tried to shove this shit down our throats. We say no, and we fought back with our wallets, which is the only thing that I thought up to this moment would resonate with them. If you're watching your profit margins going down because of this certain thing, that the American people, the consumers, the people who buy your shit said, no, we don't want. And you're still continuing to push it. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome? This is what Hollywood's doing. This is what these major brands are doing. We have fought back against I'm going to, from this moment forward in the show, I'm just going to call it the message. You guys got the point. The message includes DEI, wokeism, transgender, gay, white women, lesbians, fucking everything. The feminists, everything is the message. So we've pushed back against the message, and they haven't gotten the message. The Dylan Mulvaney thing definitely wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an honest mistake, but I got your point, bro. I definitely got your point. But Bud Light, real men of genius. Where the fuck is that? They could never do a commercial like that anymore. Why? We can't laud men anymore? Laud men anymore? We can't put men on a pedestal? This country wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for fucking men. And this is what they want to do. They want to feminize. First of all, they want to feminize men. There's no doubt about it. And then when you push back against feminists, they're like, oh, what are you, a weak man, and you have to be a tough guy and go after women? No, we're just tired of the fucking bullshit. We're tired of being told that we can't be tough and we can't be fucking manly men and we can't do this stuff because it's fucking, the patriarchy. I'm tired of it. I've always been tired of it. I've always pushed back against it and I don't care. But I mean, Superman is supposed to be like a shining light of American values. That was literally the creation of his character. And the left goes, well, he's an illegal immigrant too. Because anything that's going to fit there, any way that they can shoehorn in their narrative to that. Superman might have been an illegal immigrant, but he was more American than most fucking Americans that were born here. He's an immigrant in the way that Lily Tang Williams is an immigrant. Somebody who is, got out of where they were living, came here, made a life for themselves, and espouse conservative American values, who believe in Western culture and Western civilization, who believe in American exceptionalism. When you have something like this, and I'm pointing over to the screen because that's where the picture of Supergirl is, they just, I bet you they literally like threw up in their mouths at the thought of maybe we should put truth, justice, and the American way on there. They just couldn't bring themselves to do it. So, and I watched the whole trailer for this. It is fucking hot garbage. The only bright spot was the 1 second shot of fucking Jason Momoa as Lobo. That was it. And I won't be rushing out to the movie theater to see this regardless. Oh my God, yes, I remember Orgasmo. And Lobo is the thing that they know that they're going to get people into the seats because everybody's been waiting for a Lobo movie and everybody wants Jason Momoa to be Lobo. And I don't think this is going to do even anywhere near as close to what Superman did. This latest iteration of Superman that came out this summer. People are tired of this shit. Americans are tired of this shit. People say that we have like superhero fatigue and we have movie theater fatigue and COVID destroyed the movie industry. And you could say yes to that, but I could show you glaring, differences in that and how that's wrong. And I'll list 3 movies. Because when you have a movie, and I'll list 4, begrudgingly the 4th one. But when you have these movies that have a target audience and you write for that target audience while still maintaining some artistic integrity, you are going to make money because that's what people want. And the one I said begrudgingly that made a shit ton of money is Barbie. Barbie has an overwhelmingly feminist fucking, and all of the men in that movie were shit on. I watched clips of this, but there was something else about that movie. That movie was marketed towards young girls and gays. That was their target audience. That movie was not targeted to guys like me. It wasn't targeted towards comic book nerds or gamers or none of us gave a shit about that movie. We weren't, no matter what they did with that movie, we were never going to go. So they embraced their audience and the movie made a shit ton of money. But Oppenheimer, perfect example. Christopher Nolan is a fucking brilliant director. There was no politics in that. It was just a well-acted movie that made a shit ton of money on a very small budget, comparatively speaking to some of these other movies. Maverick. There was no politics, no woke bullshit in that movie. It was a stripped down, like 80s action movie. The first Sonic movie did good, and I'll talk about that in a second. because that's actually really important. Thanks for bringing that up. That actually really dovetails into what I'm talking about. Maverick did over $1 billion, and it was a great fucking movie. It felt like we were back in the 80s again watching an 80s movie. And Deadpool versus Wolverine. All of these movies have something in common. There wasn't any politics in it. The three I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the Barbie movie. Oppenheimer. I didn't see anything overtly political about Oppenheimer. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now. Oppenheimer, Maverick, and Deadpool. They stayed very far away from the message. They stayed very far away from woke. They stayed very far away from politics. There was no politics in Maverick whatsoever. It was great performances by everybody in the movie. The action was great. Miles Teller was perfect as Goose's kid. Everything was fucking pitch perfect in that movie. You know, they showed, you know, capable women in that movie, but not as capable as their male counterparts, because men are better in an airplane than women are. And then that's proven. But they did have women that were pilots. And it wasn't, I'm a woman, I'm a pilot, I'm going to kick your ass. No, it wasn't any of that shit. It was, she was just there. She didn't need the exposition of saying, oh, I'm a woman and I did this and blah, 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 blah. We got it without saying it. Like, yeah, all right, you're a female in Top Gun, in the Top Gun program. Okay, so if you made it this far, I instinctually know that you're great at what you do. And it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. And the movie didn't force it down our fucking throats. They didn't hammer it fucking home. They didn't hammer fist it into your fucking face. Look at this woman. Inclusivity. She's fucking awesome. She's with these guys and she can fly just as good as them. And she can't. But they did it right. And Alien was Alien and Aliens is a perfect example. Ripley is not a badass. Yeah, Airplane definitely did have some terrible pilots, that's for sure. Ripley was a badass. Only because she had to be. She was just this unassuming little mousy woman that just refused to fucking die. She wasn't going to let this thing fucking beat her, and she was put in a circumstance in the first movie where she had no choice. It was either give up and die or fight. It wasn't like a feminist diatribe throughout the entire movie. And it made it even better in Aliens because now this was about, even though she wasn't Newt's mother, this was about a mother protecting her daughter. And we all know what mama birds will do, mama bears. So, and she wasn't a badass in that movie. She didn't even know how to use a gun. She had been fucking on ice for 50 years. And now she's thrown into this fucking mix with these Marines. And she's gotten, again, no other choice but to survive. Same thing with Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton. In the first movie, she didn't have any other choice. Kyle Reese, John Connor's father, came back. They fell in love. She got pregnant with the man who was supposed to, you know, lead the human race to victory against the machines. And in the second one, the scene when you first see her and she's doing the fucking pull-ups, you can tell it wasn't like a feminist diatribe throughout the entire movie. We just know instinctually, we didn't even have to, even the little bit of exposition by John Connor, you know, Edward Furlong, when he's telling the T-800 when they're in the weapons cache about, you know, that they traveled around and trained. She knew what was coming. So she wanted to be ready for it. So she went out and fucking trained. But it wasn't, I'm fucking strong woman, hear me fucking roar. Because even at the part where she went to go kill the scientist, Miles Dyson, she couldn't do it. She saw a kid. And her motherly, womanly instincts that she shoved down so that she can train her son and keep her son alive and keep her alive because she knew what was coming. Even then, that broke. It wasn't a psychotically fucking feminist narrative in that movie. It was just a woman who was out to protect her son, and she'd be willing to do anything to do that. And we all knew that instinctually. You didn't need to hammer our fucking faces with it. You know, and I also think the same thing, even though it was a little over the top. See, to me, Terminator 2 was more believable. But even though it was a little more over the top, I got to say, I enjoyed this movie called Peppermint. Again, Jennifer Gardner. But she lost her husband and her daughter, and she disappeared for 5 years and trained relentlessly to kill the Mexican cartel that killed her family. And you could see through that movie, again, it wasn't this, I'm a strong woman, hear me roar. This was somebody, male or female, doesn't matter, somebody who went out there and trained to get revenge on the people that destroyed her fucking life. And it transcended sex. That's why I appreciated that movie. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that movie. There was some pretty badass shit in it. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth it. And because of that, they came out with all these other fucking psychotically overly feminist fucking movies like Atomic Blonde and some other bullshits. And it was just like, no, you did it wrong. And they flopped. So Hollywood doesn't listen, obviously. And the one time, and I'm glad No Foolin brought it up. The one time they did listen is Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I know you guys are like, dude, what the fuck? All of this has to do with politics because politics are ruining our entertainment. And I hate I used to love going to the movies. I would go to the Lux level at Patriot Place. It's where, like, you know, it's the very expensive one. It's like on top of everything. They bring food and drinks to you while you're there. And all the plebes are down in the... More than anything is when I'm watching a movie, I can't stand somebody talking. Shut the fuck up. I used to get into a fight with my ex all the fucking time, my son's mom, and my most recent. But she just like the blah, 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 blah. Listen, we're at the movies. Shut up. I don't want to hear your fucking mouth. Can it wait 2 hours? Can't you be quiet, woman, for 2 hours? 2 hours. Just be quiet for 2 hours. You can't do that? I'm here to enjoy a movie. I don't want to listen to your mouth. I listen to it all fucking day long anyway. I don't want to listen to it here. This is my escapism. And that's what movies were supposed to be. Escapism. Escape from reality. Enter a different land. Immerse yourself in the story. Pull yourself out of the bullshit for a couple of hours. And not be hammered with the same shit that's bringing you down outside of the movie theater. I don't want to hear about politics. I just want to see shit blow up. I just want to see big spectacle. I want to see a white fucking Thor with long hair not be completely emasculated by every single woman in the fucking movie. And that was the latest. Oh, Nikki, it's not X, it's me. I haven't been on X. Today's like 3 weeks. I haven't been on X. I have been taking a break from the psychotic bullshit on X, and I have been working on my album because I have not been getting anything done between shows and spending an outrageous amount of time on spaces and always being stuck in my phone. And I preach against, detaching yourself from the matrix. And I was falling a victim of it. And I have gotten so much done on my album in the last 3 weeks. And I have been so, my blood pressure's been fucking normal. I am not like doom scrolling. So yeah, it's definitely me. But Nikki, if you take a mental note, Monday 3 to 5 to 7, Monday 5 to 7, Wednesday 5 to 7, Friday 3 to 6. It's only going to go till like just before 5 today. But that's my schedule. And then Netflix is a cesspool of wokeism. And with Netflix buying Warner Brothers and the entire DC universe, you think it's going to get any better? And we'll get to that in a second because we're going to talk about Trump supposedly standing in the way. So anyway, I want to go and I want to escape reality. That's the point of it. That's the point of going to, a Renaissance fair. You go there because you want to be transported to the Renaissance, walk around with, a horn mug of beer, a turkey leg, and look at fucking big titty chicks in that's what you do at Renaissance fairs. Maybe watch jousting if it's a good joust company. All of these things that we do for entertainment, it's escapism. Susan Rice is on the board of Netflix. I did not know that. Why does that not surprise me? I didn't know it. But yeah, this is all of these things that we do. Movies, go to things like that, events like that, go to, Universal, Disney World. It's another perfect example. Like, I don't want to see a trans princess. Like, I'm not bringing my kids. I've never been to Disney. I wanted to go, but I'm not, like, my daughter, who's 28, wanted to bring my son to Disney. And I said, no, absolutely not. Because I don't want to support financially companies that pull that woke bullshit. So anyway, let me get back to this thing real quick, and then I'll get to the rest of the stuff in the chat. Thank you guys for so much interaction. I appreciate it. The one time that I remember that Hollywood actually listened to the people was the Sonic movie. They came out with this face for Sonic that was just, we were all like, what the fuck? Now, I played the Sonic games when I was like fucking 10, 11 years old. That's not what Sonic looks like. They were trying to change something that was a 35-year-old fucking property into something that you could see that they didn't get it. And the internet went fucking nuts and said, listen, we're not going to this movie. What the fuck were you thinking? We refused to go to this goddamn fucking movie. And they changed it. And they changed the character model. And the movie was a huge fucking success. Because Hollywood was like, oh shit, we're about to lose hundreds of millions of dollars on this. I have no idea what the hell's going on with the computer back there. It's making all kinds of noise. And I think, and it wasn't Marvel or Disney that got the point with Deadpool. It literally was, and the reason why it took so long to get this Deadpool movie off the ground was because Ryan Reynolds, for all of his faults, some people were tell me that Ryan Reynolds is not great, whatever. I don't care. For all of his faults, He did not want any woke in that movie, and he fought Disney every fucking step of the way. And so did Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was like, there's no fucking way, coming off the last two Wolverine movies, not the Origins, the Wolverine and Wolverine, the one where he dies. Coming off two hardcore R movies where Wolverine got to finally be fucking Wolverine. Were they going to allow, was he going to allow him to, he wasn't going to allow them to bring him back into some PG-13 sanitized woke fucking bullshit. It's either we are going to give them the Wolverine that they want, and that was the Wolverine that was in the movie. Deadpool, since the first one, has been everything that Deadpool has been in the comic book. The Ryan Reynolds, to his fucking credit, he is just like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is a fucking nerd. He knows his properties. This is the reason why he left The Witcher. Everybody says that Netflix let him go. He was like, fuck you. He was a fan of the books. He was a fan of the Witcher games, especially The Witcher 3, which was a fucking phenomenal game. And the Witcher series was all about Ciri. Ciri. And the dude that played the lute, his name in the game and in the book is Dandelion. First of all, they changed that. And he wasn't gay. But they had to have a gay character. And all of this fucking feminist fucking bullshit that was nowhere near in the books. Yes, this was a book series. Long before the game. Long before the show. And I couldn't think of anybody better to play The Witcher than Henry Cavill. Not because of how he looks, but because he knows the source material. He's a fucking nerd. There's also going to be a Warhammer show that Prime is working on, Amazon. And if you know anything of what they did with the fucking Lord of the Rings, what a fucking shame that was. And Henry Cavill said, unless you are going to do it and stick with the fucking lore, I'm not going to do it, and I will fight you every step of the fucking way. And it's about big, strong men taking on threats throughout the universe. That's just me watering Warhammer down. There's so much to Warhammer. Just take it as that. Big, strong fucking men in these big fucking suits that go and kill shit. And he's like, no, fuck you. I'm not doing it. Unless, boom. So Henry Cavill was perfect to play The Witcher. He knew the source material. And what did they do? They fucking feminized The Witcher. There's none of this shit in the books. There's none of this shit in the game. Ciri's in the game, and Ciri is in the books. But she's a bit character. This is a story about Geralt of Rivia. That's it. It's not about Ciri. How many times in the show, if you've watched the show, the first 3 seasons, because I know the 4th really sucked. I wouldn't need, I could barely get through the 3rd season. Where's Ciri? Where's Ciri? Where's Ciri? Where's Ciri? The whole, fuck Ciri. Nobody gives a shit about Ciri. Shut the fuck up. And then all these fucking lesbian witches and shit. And it's like, dude, where's this shit coming from? And then you hear the show's creators talking about that they want to just use the name The Witcher and a little bit of that universe to draw people in to push their feminist gay message. The message. And then and Henry Cavill, they hated Henry Cavill because Henry Cavill fought them tooth and fucking nail. And much to his fucking credit, just like Ryan Reynolds, he didn't give in. He didn't give in to the woke. He didn't give in to the bullshit. He didn't get into the fucking feminization of the character that he was playing. And there are a few in there that are still like perfect. Look, there's plenty of people in Hollywood. Like, you would never see the humiliation ritual like they did to John Cena. I mean, him coming out like that naked. And then Dave Bautista, and Dave Bautista's a raging fucking lib shit anyway. But look at the way, this is all the humiliation, feminization ritual that Hollywood pushes on their actors. And you got guys like Henry Cavill that say, no, fuck you. Henry Cavill, I think, would be a great James Bond. In fact, I think he would be perfect as James Bond. They don't want that. Why? Because they're pushing for a black female James Bond. A black female 006, which is the shit part of that entire fucking movie. I'm 006 now. No. No. Listen, I didn't mind what's his name as James Bond. I think probably Sir Roger Moore, Sir Sean Connery. See, I grew up in the 80s, so it would be Roger Moore for me. I didn't see the Sean Connery until after I saw the Roger Moore James Bonds. And then I liked the Pierce Brosnan. But I think that you could see over the time that they were, no heterosexual whites allowed, absolutely. Over time, you could see the PC message being pushed in James Bond. And with each subsequent movie, that message got louder and louder and less people started showing up. We don't want this in our movie. If we go to James Bond, we instinctively know he's going to be a handsome, debonair, rich guy who can kick a lot of ass and gets laid constantly and blows shit up. That's what we're going to see. It is living in that fantasy. Guys will put themselves in the position of James Bond, wanting to be James Bond. That's what escapism is. And the major players in our country, I'm talking about in politics, pushing this narrative, and Hollywood going along with it. Hollywood has gone along with the narrative that Orange Man is bad. So everything they do, like when these people see that an actress that they like, and she's like, oh, Donald Trump is a fucking Nazi. He's a fucking Antichrist. Well, that's what they do. And they're like, oh, well, somebody I watch on TV and I respect. It's like that Ricky Gervais diatribe at the Golden Globes, which was fucking perfect. If you guys haven't watched it, I will find, you know what? I'm going to find that and I'm going to play it for you guys. Let's see, Ricky. Let's see. Let's see. Let's share a screen. This was perfect. And, if he's saying that, I figure, oh, maybe Hollywood would have gotten it. I think this is it. I hope this is it. Oh, why are we mute?
Here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais. Thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. Fifth time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood foreign press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no. Shush. It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons, yeah? Look, at this table alone, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. But Baby Yoda. Oh, that's Joe Pesci, sorry. I love you, man. Don't have me whacked. But tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, fifth time. So, we were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. It just, no. It was mostly white people, and I thought, nah, not on my watch. So, maybe next year. Let's see what happens. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no, we've got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way. So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right. But seriously, most films are awful, lazy, remakes, sequels. I've heard a rumour that there might be a sequel to Sophie's Choice. I mean, that'd just be Meryl Streep going, well, it's got to be this one then. All the best actors have jumped to Netflix and HBO, you know. And the actors who just do Hollywood movies now do fantasy adventure nonsense. They wear masks and capes and really tight costumes. Their job isn't acting anymore. It's going to the gym twice a day and taking steroids, really. Have we got an award for most ripped junkie? No. No point. We know he'd win that. Martin Scorsese, the greatest living director, made the news for his controversial comments about the Marvel franchise. He said they're not real cinema and they remind him of theme parks. I agree. Although I don't know what he's doing hanging around theme parks. He's not big enough to go on the rides, is he? It's tiny. Right. The Irishman was amazing. It was amazing.
It really wasn't.
It was great.
It was fucking 3 hours and it was
long,
stupid.
But yeah. Amazing. It wasn't the only epic movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long. Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So... Even Prince Andrew's like, come on, Leo, mate, you know. You're nearly 50, son. The world got to see James Corden as a fat pussy. He was also in the movie Cats, but no one saw that. And the reviews, oh, shocking. I saw one that said, this is the worst thing to happen to cats since dogs, right? But Dame Judi Dench defended the film, saying it was the role she was born to play, because she... I can't do this next joke. Because she loves nothing better than plonking herself down on the carpet, lifting her leg and licking her... Furball. She's old school. It's the last time, who cares? Oh. Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show. A superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and... So... It's already 3 hours long. Right, let's do the first award. The first award. The first award is for Best Actor in a Television Series, Musical or Comedy. To present the award are a couple of actors off the telly, what can I say? Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
You know nothing about the real world. Come up and accept your reward and fuck off. You know, I have never seen anybody destroy Hollywood, especially with bringing up Epstein. Ricky Gervais at that Golden Globes, I think that was 2023, 22 or 23. I think it was 23 because nobody was wearing masks. Even Hollywood wasn't wearing masks. Hollywood, he resonated what every single moviegoer, consumer of pop culture was feeling at that time. And you would think that they would get the message. And they didn't. This is more woke bullshit. This is more pushing the narrative. You think that just because Trump is in office and because we have a Republican, very, very slim Republican majority, and we're seeing pushbacks against woke, that it's not going to rear its ugly head again. They're not going to try to push the trans nonsense in schools again. The trans nonsense in our in our movies again. You think you think we're going to have a Republican president for forever? Trump is not going to be president forever. Neither will J.D. Vance if he wins. So, what do you think the first thing that the left, it's the same thing they did from 16 to 20. They were seething. They were biding their time. They were sowing the seeds of the message in people's heads so that by the time 2020 came around, even though it was a blatant steal, that Joe Biden winning, that even the left and the people on the left that I knew that were like, there's no fucking way, because I knew some people on the left that were like, there's no fucking way Joe Biden won. The guy campaigned from his basement. There's no way he got 81 million votes. But they all said they didn't care. Because Trump wasn't in office anymore. And the Republicans and the conservatives did not have control of the country. They didn't give a shit. They said straight out, it doesn't matter if he stole the election or not, at least. I don't know if it's the real Ann Vandersteel or not, but I am not Enrique. But thank you. You're watching my show, Patriot Rob, Critical Mass, on Enrique's. But thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And they said they didn't care. They said they didn't care how bad that they cheated to get Donald Trump out of office. What do you think they're going to do this next time around? What do you think they're going to try to do in November, first of all? I mean, I really hope this last election that we saw that installed a CIA agent into the governor of fucking Virginia. I hope that's not indicative of what's going on. But if you think for 1 second that while this woke stuff, we might be in a lull, it is going to come back stronger, more prevalent, and in your face and persistent than ever if we lose in November. Yeah, I am. But thank you very much. I do appreciate it. It's going to come back. It's going to come roaring back if we lose in November. Yeah, I don't. It's just the position of my mic. And this is what we're facing. We talked about it earlier on the show, is that how we're so divided and how everything's so divisive in the conservative movement right now. You got people that are taking the side of Candace Owens. You got people taking the side of Erica Kirk. And honestly and truly, finding out the truth about Charlie and his death is important. All the other shit is just exposition. It's all stuff that's designed to keep you preoccupied on something that doesn't fucking matter. Learning about Charlie's death does matter. Absolutely 100%. Oh, this fucking mic. But as far as what is that going to do as far as making sure that we hold the House and the Senate in November? What's it going to do for 2028? It does nothing but divide the base. I'm tired of the division. I'm tired of everybody on our side, conservatives, quote unquote conservative influencers, only doing for themselves. They're jumping into this because they're getting all their clicks and their likes. And if you're doing anything purposely to get clicks and likes, even if you know it's the wrong thing to do, then you should not be fucking doing it. I do this, I don't make a fucking dime at it. And it's not a complaint. I do it because it's something I believe in. Everything I do and everything I say is designed for one thing: to bring back a feeling of American exceptionalism again. Oh, it is the real Ann. Okay. Hi, Ann Vandersteel. Thank you for watching my show. I am honored. Thank you, Gino. Everything I say, it's because of all the years that I've been into politics, all the things that I've seen in my life, from when I decided I was going to be a conservative, which was when I was 18 years old. Yes, I know I split the vote, but I voted what I thought was right. I voted for Ross Perot. I have been a conservative since I was 18. I've been a conservative longer than that, but I didn't know what conservatism meant or what the Republicans were. I just know that Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, wanted to take my music away from me when I was a kid. She wanted to ban metal. And she, thank you. Yes, I'm reading the comments. Thanks, Ann. I do, and I, the PMRC and my music and my culture and the 80s made up my political beliefs. And I knew that the Democrats wanted to take my music away from me. They wanted to ban art. And I said, well, I'm never voting for anybody like that. And I believed, even at 18 years old, that the country, at 18, the country should be run like a business. And all social issues should be left to the states and the people in those states. I didn't think the federal government should have ever been involved. I've always been a guy who believed in a much smaller government. The kind of government, the best kind of government is government you don't even know that's there. I have lived by those words. And I haven't seen in the last 36 years where we have voted in any administration that has been or done for the people solely, the way that maybe I have a naive view, and I don't think so. I just know what this country was, and I think the turning point for me when I stopped believing that this government really cared about its citizens was Waco. That really affected me a lot because I talk about it a lot. Thanks, Christy. When I saw, and we got to watch that live, unfold in front of our eyes live, and what our government did to us. And it was a Democrat government. And Waco was, as far as I'm concerned, people can argue with me or not, but you look at Waco and then you look at the 94 crime bill and the Nix background check system. Waco really, and the narrative that they spun around Waco made America just be like, oh, all right, sure, let's violate our Second Amendment rights and we'll do it willingly so that we don't have people like, the crazy Christians in Waco, getting guns. So from then on, I mean, listen, the only time I abstained from voting was Bush the second time. And because I had and still do have a problem with the Patriot Act. I said back then that it was going to be used against us. Now, I live in New Hampshire. Most everybody who watches the show knows that because I talk about New Hampshire a lot and talk about all the things that are going on here. We did so much work leading up to the 2024 elections as far as our representatives. There was just about 1,000 of us spread around the state that we made a commitment to go and meet every single one of our conservative candidates and grill them on their beliefs and their views. If they didn't fall into our category, we told them straight out we weren't voting for them. If you are a conservative and you're a Republican and you want to vote against Second Amendment rights, we aren't going to vote for you. And they got the fucking message. And you look at the things that's going on here in New Hampshire right now is unlike any other state in the country. The only thing I think that Florida is going to beat us on is the property tax thing. But we just got rid of estate tax and capital gains tax here. So we have no income tax here in the state. And I know property tax is on the fucking menu. So it can be done. You just got to put the effort in. Like, we really need to get rid of Maggie Goodlander, first of all, Maggie Hassan, and Chris Pappas. Those are Shaheen's a blight on our state too. All four of them are a blight. You guys have heard me say this ad nauseum that we could vote in a majority in our House, in our Senate, and a Republican governor. However you feel about Kelly Ayotte. I was a Chuck Morris guy myself, but since he didn't win the nomination, there's no way I was going to let the mayor of Manchester become the governor of the state. Oof. How we could vote all of them in, but then these 4 psychotic leftist Democrats, we send them to Congress. Maggie Goodland is a carpetbagger anyway, and she technically doesn't live in the district that she was voted in. And there's been argument, but at this point, it's like nobody's going to do anything about it. So what do? We have to go, and here in New Hampshire, we have to get Lily Tang Williams in. We have to hit the ground for her. She's an amazing woman. She escaped communist China. She came here, started a life, and she is as pro-American as it gets. If you guys don't know who she is, if you've ever seen like the memes of the little Chinese woman with the AR-15, love to see her go to Congress. I would love to see her represent the great state of New Hampshire. But if we don't, all this that I've been talking about, I know I've concentrated on movies, but movies are the metric for what is going on. Like if everything that's going on in the movies is what our government wants to push, what these elitists want to push on us, and we want to fight back against that. And they still haven't gotten it. They're never going to get it unless if we don't dominate in 2026. If you think what you're seeing now, again, I'm going to bring this up on the screen because it still bothers me. I know I'm obsessing about it, but this bothers me. I'm not surprised. Don't take my being upset, my vitriolic statements about the message. Don't take anything that I'm saying as me being surprised. I'm not surprised. But this, if in any way possible, we need to send a message come June 26th. Don't go to this movie. Truth, justice, whatever. This is not what we want. If that said truth, justice, and the American way, and yes, I know that the majority of this movie, people are going to come at me in the comments later on, especially on YouTube. They're going to come at me later on. Well, it's not set on Earth. It's in space. It doesn't matter. Give us something to be hopeful about. That, according to Henry Cavill's Superman, that S means hope. We want truth, justice, and the American way. If that said that on it, I guarantee you, even if the movie sucked, people would go see it. They'd be like, whoa, what? We haven't seen this in a Superman movie since Christopher Reeve. That amazing scene where he's got the American flag in his hand on the top of the White House, and he sets it back on the White House. Oh, I'm pushing wrong buttons. See, I don't have a producer, so I'm doing it all myself. We want a return to American exceptionalism. We want a return to people being proud. So my son does wrestling now, and I got about 10 minutes. So he does football, and then he does wrestling after football season's over. And I live in a place where everybody takes their hat off, stands up, salutes the flag, and honors the national anthem. And every time we go to a match or every time we would go to a game, everybody's standing up. They got their hats on their hearts, or if they're saluting, if they're in their previous military. And it feels, where I live especially, feels like old America. I don't know how else to say it. It feels like what I grew up in. It feels like the 80s when people loved this country. They loved the flag. The flag wasn't offensive to them. These are very patriotic people where I live. You don't fuck around with the flag here. We don't allow trans in bathrooms here. And nobody says boo. I live in the safest state in the country because it is the most gun-friendly state in the country. Everybody carries. All the criminals know it. We have the lowest crime in the entire country. We have an old world aesthetic here. We have an old world mindset, our culture. We don't want outsiders coming here and ruining it. I miss the 80s. I really do. I mean, listen, the 80s weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I miss the 80s. It was a simpler time. You know, I go back and I think about, you know, playing video games with my friends at a local bowling alley where we're right next to one another. And then we would get on our bikes and we'd go ride, or we would go skate. We would do things together as a community. We don't do that anymore. People don't want to be around other people. People don't want to talk on the phone. Everybody rather text. Nobody wants to take, you know, an entire text conversation takes 25 minutes that I could say to you with my voice in like 3. And then there'll be somebody, most likely Barry, being going, Rob, you can't only speak for 3 minutes. But I miss that. I miss that sense of community. I miss that sense of love for this country. And that's why I do this. If I can reach 1 or 2 people, and then they can go out and reach 2 people each or 3 people each, and that's how it works. That's the snowball effect. We have to start coming together. Enough of this fucking infighting bullshit. Unless you want to sit and watch movies where they shit on America, unless you want all of everything that you consume, from your beer to your motorcycles and everything in between, being inundated with the message, unless this is how you want to live your life for the foreseeable future, then we have to do something about it. You have to get off your ass. The reason why somebody like Lindsey Graham is still in there is because, well, he's been there, and it's voter apathy. It's being complacent. Oh, yeah, well, you know, we don't want to try somebody new, so we're just going to, or push a button or whatever it is. Like here we have paper ballots. Where I live, we have paper ballots, thankfully. And the people that count them are trustworthy people. Because if they fucked around, they would get lynched. I could tell you that. But Lindsey Graham only wins because of voter apathy and being complacent. Like, oh, he's in there, we're just going to vote him back in. And he is not a Republican. He is a subversive twat. That's the only way I can. Dan Crenshaw. Now I'm going to end on this because we talked about it earlier with, you know, me, Enrique, and Barry, and Reno, and Kim. Kim came on for a minute too, which we're happy to see her. You know, you got somebody like Dan Crenshaw, who, when somebody has a legitimate question, Sean Ryan had a legitimate question. How does somebody that makes $174,000 a year, wasn't a millionaire before he went into Congress, make so much money and be able to afford, I didn't even know who this guy was because I don't listen to that kind of music, Steve Aoki, and now, you know, seeing who he is, some reports I've seen online, it costs $500,000, $500,000 to book this guy for a show. That could be exaggerated, but Barry was talking about 10 years ago, the guy was getting $125,000. So I guess he's a DJ of some prominence. How do you afford to hire this guy on $174,000 a year for your 40th birthday party? Well, he took $300,000 from APAC. I okay, this is not going to be a Jew thing, but AIPAC has a lot of influence. United Arab Emirates has a lot of influence. Qatar has a lot of influence, financially speaking, in our country with our congressmen. And the question that Sean Ryan asked is a question that we've been asking about Nancy Pelosi for at least the last 8 years. How are you worth so much money if you're not getting insider info on stocks, on Wall Street, on the stock market? It's a legitimate question that anybody should be able to ask of our quote-unquote representatives. Now, Dan Crenshaw doesn't represent me. I don't think he's any better than the people that do represent my state. I don't see him as being any better than Maggie Goodlander or Maggie Hassan or Chris Pappas or Gene Shaheen. I don't see him being better than Fox Ahontis. He's the definition of rhino. He's the definition of uniparty hack. And now he wants to shut Sean Ryan up. And Sean Ryan didn't even say his name. And then he's using veiled threats of using SEAL Team 6 to go after Sean Ryan, which I would probably guesstimate there's not a lot of people in SEAL Team 6 that have a lot of respect for Dan Crenshaw. And I'll say his name because, sue me, I don't have anything. What do you want, my guitars? Fuck you. So this is where we're at. This is where the infighting is. We have people that are supposed to be Republican representatives that espouse conservative values who are anything but. They have used their position to gain monetarily. They have used their position to gain power and influence. And that's the only reason why they're doing what they're doing. Very rarely is there a representative out there that does what he's supposed to do, represent his constituents of the state that he came from. Our entire system is screwed. Our entire system is based on lies and money. And we're too busy cutting each other's throats to see what's really going on. One of the other than working on my album for the past 3 weeks, which it's coming out great. I just finished a cover song of a song most of you guys have probably heard. It got big for a while. It's called "We'll Have Our Home Again." It was by a band called the Pine Tree Riots, and it's just a dude singing with people just banging on a table in the background. And I made it like a rock and roll anthem, and it sounds pretty fucking good. I got to do the solo, and I got to have it mixed and mastered. And maybe I'll play it as the outro, and you guys can tell me on Monday what you think. But it is a demo, so it's still rough. But anyway, and I've pulled back from the people that are doing the things. I can see them doing it. That they're jumping into this fight between, especially Candace Owens and everybody, or everybody being against Tucker Carlson because he gave an interview to Nick Fuentes, or the people that are being divisive about Tim Pool getting shot at, and all of these things to me feel like a psyop, and I think that we're psyopting ourselves. I don't even think the government's looking at us and the people that are in power that want us distracted. They're doing other things to distract us. We're doing so much to ourselves to distract us from what the fuck is going on. The government's just like, oh, well, we can take a vacation. They don't even need to do shit because we're doing it to ourselves. We're too busy cutting each other's throats for what we think is internet fame. And once you get that bug in you, it's hard to pull back. You start not being altruistic in your movements in what you want to do. It all becomes, now I need to, I'm going to get to 10,000 or I'm going to get to 50,000 fucking followers on X because that means something. It doesn't mean shit. Your follower account doesn't mean a fucking thing. None of this means a fucking thing if you're only doing it for yourself. If you're not using the platform that you have to do good things to bring America back from the brink of destruction, then you are just as bad as the people on the left that are blatantly calling for the destruction of America. People that believe that the Constitution is antiquated and we need to get rid of it and write a new one, because that is the majority of the left. The Constitution, to the people on both sides, the uniparty, there's very few representatives that do what they're supposed to do. But the uniparty, they want to see the downfall of this America. The Constitution is the only thing that's in the way from stopping them from doing it. And the more people that jump on the train of the left, the more people that jump on this belief that America is dead, it's a failed experiment, and they want to create this new leftist, woke, inclusive fucking utopia, the more chance it's going to happen if we don't fight back. And we can't fight back and be effective if we're fighting ourselves. So my choice to pull off of X for a while and take a break is to focus on the things that I want to do. That X has been, like, I don't have any other social media, so I don't have Instagram. It's funny because I was talking to Isaiah. When I say this, most people know who I'm talking about. Isaiah Washington, the actor. I consider him a good friend. And I was talking to him the other day. He called me, and he sent me something on, he sent me a text message that was a Instagram reel or whatever it is they call it. And I was like, bro, I don't have, he says, he said, dude, you don't have Instagram? I'm like, no, I don't have Instagram. He's like, good for you, man. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, it's social media AIDS. And he laughed at that. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much for watching today. I appreciate it. I will be back on Monday at 5 o'clock. I don't know about Wednesdays. Yeah, the woke is back by 600 trillion. Yeah, I know. Vanguard. Well, we'll see. I do have to say that I watched, in my absence, I did watch this season of South Park. And holy shit, you want to talk about Jump the Shark? Whoa. Some of it had me rolling, but some of it and this is South Park, for me to be like, whoa, that this is the most unhinged I've ever seen South Park. It's really, really, really unhinged. Some of it was pretty funny. I just learned about this 6-7 thing. But anyway, I want to thank you guys very much for joining me today. I do appreciate everybody that watches, everybody that supports. I would tell you to go to 1776 shop and order some shirts if you want to support me and order some hats. But we had somebody do a DDoS attack, and the site is down. So hopefully maybe on Monday we'll have the 1776 shop back up. I hope. And I think Sunday, I'm going to have like a special show. My buddy Kyle Wayne is having a kind of welcome home Christmas party kind of thing. And I'm going to be traveling to Mass on Sunday for that. And I'm going to bring my gear with me, and I'm going to do a live show, I hope, on Sunday, and interview him now that he's out of prison, and see where his case is going. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great time. I think it's going to be a great interview. Hopefully he's up for doing it. I pray that he's up for doing it. You know, after you spend 4 months in prison, when you've never been in jail in your life, you know, it's kind of a readjustment period, being home and being free. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to the thing anyway. I'll report from there one way or another. And again, you guys have a great weekend. Go outside and touch some grass. In my case, I got to go outside and touch 12 inches. You know, I've really tried to avoid saying that. I got to go out and touch a foot of snow. And thank you guys again. You guys have a great day. And a great weekend. Oh, and I did want to say one other thing. I want to acknowledge Ann Vandersteel. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know if you're still watching or not, but I do appreciate you, even though you thought I was Enrique there for a second. I do appreciate you coming and watching the show. You guys have a great weekend. Oh, wait a minute. I was supposed to play a little bit of this for you guys. Huh. All right, here you go. I kind of broke up there for a minute. All right, there it is. That's I don't usually put demos out there, but there you go. The last two things I got to do is I got to fix a vocal. That's probably another reason why I'm not playing the rest of it. It's because there's one part where my voice cracked because I was really trying to fucking hit it, and it didn't work out. And then the guitar solo is not in it yet. And I don't do the copy and paste thing like a lot of bands do. I have an old school aesthetic where I was, when I was in a band back in the day, it was 2-inch tape, and you couldn't just like copy and paste somebody's, guitar riffs. And so if I can't sing the whole song or sing it all the way, I'm not going to do it. But that is that. And then we're going to be doing a video for it. And I'm hoping to get a shit ton of people, I want to do it kind of like, you know, if I'm thinking about the way I want to do it is sending the music to certain people and have them just like kind of like at a gas station record themselves. By God, we'll have our home, you know, like that, just mimicking the music, and then put it, cut it all into the video and make it like a tour video. You know, that's that's kind of the idea. And then there's a part where so it's a cover song of the Pine Tree Riots, By God We'll Have Our Home again. And he's talking about lighting a fire to guide his way. If he doesn't have one, he's going to light his own. And then I have this big bonfire set up in my side yard where I'm going to fucking light it on fire. And so we'll see. Once I get the guitar solo done, and there's this AI mastering program that's supposed to, like, if I were to put in and say I want it to be mastered to sound like this, it'll bring the levels up and do it alone. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to send it out to a mastering facility in Boston, and however long it takes them. And as soon as it's mastered, I'm going to drop the song on YouTube, and I'll drop it on X, and then I'll be taking DMs from people at that time. If you want to be in the video, you can take the music, record yourself singing to the chorus, and we'll cut a video, and hopefully by the end of January, we'll have the video out, and then there you go. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great weekend again.